We want to thank you for being here. We recognize the commitment that you're taking to pursue excellence. You're just one step closer to achieving success. And the Institute is here to help at every step, wherever you are in your business journey. We've helped thousands of shops over decades and across the nation, from service advisor and manager training to a shop that's just starting out, or even those who are planning their growth, scaling from 10 to 20 to 30 locations. Those that are preparing for private equity sale, or even those that are succeeding their business to the next generation. The Institute and our many coaches with years of experience, both from inside and outside the industry, are here to provide education and tools to get you on your way. You do not have to do this alone. We hope you enjoy the content to come. For a better business, a better life, and a better industry, the Institute.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on when and where you're joining us from today. You may be here for the live recording. Thank you very much. Glad you're here. Or perhaps you are watching the replay in the after hours after it has been produced and made it to look wonderful. I am so glad you are here. It's so good to see you, my friends. This is going to be an interactive webinar. For those of you who are watching the recording, you can come to the live event and put in your information, put in your questions, get a shout out, join us for the live webinar. We'd love to have you there. So for those of you who are here, to make sure that this is an interactive correspondence, an interactive between you and I'll be the voice for you. Put in the comments button, put in the comments section where you're joining us from. Give us the name of your shop, the city and state. We'll give you a shout out here as we're live with our webinar. This is streaming across YouTube and Facebook, and it's also live here on StreamYard. So super excited to be able to have this platform that we can all work together with on our conversations as we talk about things in the industry that make us all better. As we work together as an industry to build a better business, build a better life, build a better industry. That's the motto here at the Institute. And I'll reiterate that over and over and over again. So we as an industry know that that's exactly what we're here to do, is to help each other elevate ourselves and our industry. So we got a couple of people joining us. John at Cochran. Again, go, John. It's good to see you, brother. Good you're back. Glad you're back. John, thank you very much. Glad you're here. Evan from Luke's Auto in Columbus, Ohio. Evan, bro, I got to get with you. I need a T-shirt and I need a hat. My son's name is Luke, and that's a great Christmas present. So let's work a deal. Let's work a trade. Oh, man, that'd be awesome. But thank you, everybody, for joining. Glad you are here, my friends, as we have this conversation. Joining us today is Cameron from UpSwell, formerly known as Mudlick Mail. You may know them from their postcard days way back in the day. And Cameron is here with us representing the ever-present world of marketing and postcards. Cameron, thank you for joining us. How you doing, brother?
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know, the postcard industry is an industry that's never seen a downturn. Why is that?
I think in the consumer, when you're marketing to your consumers, right, you're always looking to give them good incentives to come into your shop. And so that's exactly what that does in a proactive way. And it's something that they can touch and feel, right? Digital is something that they can just see, but really when you're sending a personalized direct mail piece, it's got their name on it. It feels like them, right? We can really personalize those messages and tailor that to who we're marketing towards. So I think that's why it's never going to go away, because it's so personal.
Oh, it's so true. And postcards are awesome. I love postcards. I love postcards because they always get to the address that you have put on the postcard, whether or not that person lives there anymore. And I just moved recently,
right?
You know, that it gets there. It gets to that person, or it gets to that residence. Question for our audience. Have you ever had a client come into your shop with somebody else's postcard? Drop that into the comments. Let me know if you have ever redeemed a coupon for a client or a client at your shop, and the coupon was not addressed to them because the person had moved, or maybe you had an old list. That's interesting. Cameron, thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Hey, a couple more shout outs here to Bernard from Best Auto in Ghana, West Africa. That went like holy cow international. Bernard, thank you. Thank you for being here. Oh my gosh, this is great. So excited that you're here to join us from South Africa. We also have Ruben from Honest One Auto Care in McKinney, Texas. Oh, Ruben, I saw the funniest meme talking about the temperature in McKinney, Texas. It was like 11,000 degrees and everybody in McKinney was wiped off the map. So that's funny. Hey, Ruben, glad you're here, brother. And joining us as well is Tom Grover. Tom from All Right Auto. Tom, how the heck are you, brother?
Doing great. Great to be able to be with you today.
Yeah. How's the weather up there in Boise? Well, you're in Emmett, just outside Boise.
I think yesterday it was 102. Today's only supposed to be about 100, so not too bad.
When you say only 100, it's hot.
That is hot.
That is hot. I just moved from St. George, Utah to northern Utah, and I'm delighted with these mornings where I wake up and it's 65 degrees outside. And the high today is 94. I don't know what it is today, but the other day it was a high of 94. And I thought, wow, that's great. I think I'm going to go outside and work all day. 94 degrees is not that hot when you grew up in Vegas, and 115 is your August.
That's true.
In August, there's many nights it does not get below 100 degrees. I think there's a good 3-week stretch in August that happens.
Yeah,
well, gentlemen, what's that, Tom?
I said I'll stay in the air conditioning.
Yeah. We do that too. It's climate controlled, 72 degrees and gorgeous. So, Tom, thanks for joining. I want to get a little bit of a history before we start about All Right Automotive. How'd you get started? What brought you into the industry? And then let's jump into some marketing questions.
I actually started into the industry back when I was a teenager. I had an uncle that had an auto repair shop. He always said that he wasn't a mechanic because a mechanic made a living fixing cars, and he could never make a living. So I was introduced into a shop like that back in teenage years. And I went from there into a dealership setting and some other things. Tried to get out of the automotive world. I actually turned down a full ride scholarship to Weber State in the management program because I did not want to be in the automotive program. And I actually found myself going back to it because it was something that I knew, and I knew I could make money. So I opened my own shop in 1997, just a small one-person shop. Well, I had another employee for a little while, and I had some injuries to my body that the doctors just said, you just can't keep doing this. You either got to grow bigger or get out. And at the time I got out, and I went back and I finished my education, got my bachelor's degrees in business and HR management. I went into the financial world in 2007. Wrong time to jump into the financial world as the markets were crashing, and I man, for a couple of years, and said I'm going back to something I know I can make money in, and had a great opportunity to open up this shop in Emmett in 2012, and it's big enough that I can grow and not be doing it myself. I mean, the first little bit it was me doing everything myself, but I quickly grew it and have come a long way since that day. So I've been in the industry quite a while.
Yeah, you have. And it sounds like a Phoenix story where you started with one that kind of died, you regrew, you rebirthed, and after education, you survived the hardest years in the world in the financial industry, 07 to 12. Holy cow, that's tough. And then you decide to jump back into automotive, and the success you're getting from it now. I just love it. At what point in that rebirth when you came back and it was you and somebody else and you were getting things started up again in 2012, 13, 14. At what point did you look at what you were doing and say, okay, we've got to establish a marketing plan?
You know, I didn't look at marketing plans at all for not until the last year and a half or so, because I was so busy. Marketing was the farthest from my mind, in all honesty. I was very busy and couldn't keep up with the work that I had coming. And my biggest struggles were other areas, just productivity and trying to get the work out and in a timely manner and things like that. So
you had that perfect problem. It was so much word of mouth marketing. It was so successful. Your shop was so busy. Not until a couple of years ago did you implement a marketing program.
Correct.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Cameron, do you hear that very often?
No, it's pretty hard out there for a lot of shops. A lot of shops have to market, especially in suburban areas where there's a lot of competition, right? So no, you don't hear that too often.
No, you really don't.
The main topics I hear are I don't have enough cars and I don't have enough techs. It's one or the other. So those are the two problems I'm always hearing year after year.
Yeah. Now, when Tom came on with UpSwell and turned on his postcard program, what were the results? What did you see from your point of view as you have basically a view of more than one shop? You view all the nation. What did you see happen with Tom?
Yeah, Tom, his area is very unique because when we send out a postcard blast, it's immediate return. For what we see on our side as far as the analytics. Just to give you guys an idea, I can pull up in my screen here, but a typical saturation mailing for the automotive industry this is our own database, right? We've been, like you said, Jimmy, we've been doing this a long time, so we've got a pretty substantial database of shops in our system. And so through all those shops, they're receiving about a 0.8% response rate, which is well above an average response rate that you would get in the way that if you target differently, right? Now, Tom here went ahead and did a 2.5% response rate on his saturation mailings. So it's pretty actually incredible how much more he's doing than what the average is. And a lot of it has to do with area, right? I mean, if you're talking about 0.8% response, I mean, that's a very good response rate in direct mail. But really what you want to look at is, as far as this stuff goes, is rate of return, right? So a typical rate of return on a saturation mailing would be like an 8-to-1. And then database mailings, they fluctuate, but all in the database ones, I mean, you can get anywhere from 15-to-1 to 100-to-1. But Tom is sitting at like about a 47-to-1 through all of his postcard marketing efforts.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, go ahead.
Cameron, let's define a couple of terms here so everybody understands. What's the difference between a database marketing and a saturation marketing?
Right. So database marketing, that's something that we're going to do not monthly. Typically, it's going to be more of a quarterly type of endeavor. Can you guys hear me still?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, that's going to be more of like a quarterly type endeavor for us. Now, a lot of shops, if you've got text messaging, emailing, all that good stuff, that's all good, right? We're just talking about print here. So to give you an example, we'll send out gift cards in the fall, getting towards like September, back to school. We'll do it in Christmas time as well. Rebate checks in the spring, holiday cards. There's multiple products that you can do for database mailing. So that's going to your database, and that's going to be either a lost customer mailer, so maybe someone that hasn't been in the last 6 months or 12 months, all the way out to 24 months, trying to win those people back. Or it could just be all of your database and to your top spenders, right? So there's multiple different ways that you can do that. And then saturation mailing is something that Tom has done a pretty good bit of. It's where you're basically taking your top performing routes. So for those who don't know, a carrier route, if you think of a zip code as a pie, a carrier route's just a slice of that pie, right? And so we're targeting very specific carrier routes in a zip code that fit the demographic that you're looking for, and the spend levels that you're looking for, right? We can see all kinds of data on this stuff. And then one thing that we forgot to mention here is list mailing. So if you're a diesel shop or if you're a Euro shop, we can go out and find those specific makes, and we can find year ranges. There's a lot of different stuff that we can do to bring in those specific customers, right?
Yeah. So Tom, when you got started with UpSwell and UpSwell Marketing, where did you start? What did you go after first?
You know, our first area, we were still busy, but the customers, we weren't getting our ideal customer. And one of the things that we had noticed is our diesel customers were more our style of customer. They were willing to spend the money and do their work. So we said, we want to get more diesel customers in here. And so I reached out to Cameron and I says, hey, Cameron, what can I do here in getting more diesel customers? And we reached out and we looked at how many diesel truck owners there were in my area. And we sent a mailing out just to them. And so those that responded were diesel truck owners. And all of a sudden our diesel work increased and our customer that we wanted increased. So, you know, we were really busy with an ARO of, I don't remember exactly what it was at that point, but it was like $450 average repair order, you know, through changes and stuff like that. I mean, now we're almost $1,000 ARO, you know, but it's getting the right customer. So we were really busy, but we didn't have the right customer. And reaching out and trying to pinpoint some of those of the ideal customers is what one of our focus was.
Nice. That's awesome. What kind of results did you expect that you would get, Tom, as you put out these postcards?
You know, I see postcards all the time in the mail and I just throw them away. I think, you know, they're not really that, you know, not that big of a deal.
Okay.
Cameron says, try it. And I sent him out there and we did see a lot more response. You know, it's like, okay, we're starting to build and bring people in. The one thing I did want to keep from getting was the guy that was coming in just for the cheap oil change type of a thing. You know, I didn't want him to be out there just looking for the deal and that was it.
Well, and that goes to your setup with your postcard. What did you do to modify the postcard so it's not an oil special? This is an oil service postcard. You must have clearly demonstrated, exhibited the ideas that this is a value to you as a diesel owner. What did you do? What was your message?
You know, we got a few people because we put a special on there for an oil change, diesel oil change. But the thing we got the most was probably our added value one, which was
15 off 150, 30 off 350, and 90 off 1,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So it kind of helped boost that, you know, and, you know, for a diesel truck, it's always over 1,000. So, you know, people were coming in not just for their oil change, but for that additional repairs and to get a little discount there. But it got our name out. We had some of our current customers respond to us and say, I didn't realize you did diesel. And so that told us, you know, that was a education issue that we were lacking. We did some changes at that point and added diesel into our name, into a lot of our marketing and stuff like that. So people did know that we do diesel. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's exactly where I was going to go. What was your current clients' feedback? And it sounds like they were opened up to a whole new world of, oh my gosh, I can take my diesel there too.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, Blake's got a question that we want to ask, and Tom, Cameron, one of the two of you, which one wants to answer this one? How are you calculating that rate of return to get a 47-to-1? What are you doing?
So that is basically total revenue over total investment, right? So Tom has invested X amount of dollars and has generated X amount of dollars in revenue. That's going to give you that 47-to-1, right? So basically all that's saying is, it's just a fancy term of saying every dollar that Tom gives me, I'll give him 47 back.
And so you've been able to isolate this to just the postcard. So this isn't all of his marketing. This is isolation down to just the UpSwell marketing. That's
correct. So this is what we do is what we call address matching, right? So postcards are something that are very hard to track. As a lot of people know that have done postcards, not everyone's going to bring the postcard in. So what we do is we say, okay, we know that Jimmy received a postcard this month from All Right Auto Repair. We know that he came in within the last 45 to 60 days, right? So then we match that address up. And not only that, but we also have call tracking on there where we can say, oh, he called that number on the postcard, right? So there's ways that we track what the return is on what we're able to match up, and then also categorize them, right? So was it a new customer that came in? Was it a win back, someone who hadn't been in the last 12 months? Was it a loyal customer from a loyal customer campaign, or what we would call a database mailing, right? Or was it an UpSwell loyal, someone that came in initially from the postcard and is returned for a second and third visit, right? So we're able to categorize that and what they spent on our dashboard to really show you kind of what the whole picture of what you're looking at, right? Because marketing is all about transparency. And so we want you guys to be able to see really who's coming in and what they're spending, and calculate, your cost per customer, revenue per customer, your rate of return, all this fun stuff that lets you know that your marketing's working, right?
That's nice. And Tom, to what Cameron has just said, people with the postcards, not everybody brings it in. I have a question for you, Tom, but also for our listeners. Do you honor the postcard coupon promotion? Do you honor that if they don't have it in their hands and are able to give it to you? Or do you say, oh, you know what, that's great. When you bring the postcard in, then you can claim the promotion?
We actually do honor it. And basically, one thing that we found is a lot of times they won't bring the postcard in. Sometimes they won't even mention the postcard. But part of marketing is, them seeing it and reminding them to do it, And so it could have been an existing customer that we had. And, they sat there and thought, oh, I've got to get my vehicle in and get this service done. And then they see the postcard and they go, oh, yeah, let me go in there and do it. And they'll go on their phone and they may have already had my number in there and call, But so sometimes it may have not have even been directly related to what we said on the postcard as much as it was a reminder. And we kind of track that as we Cameron had mentioned there was geo routes, that we went.
Like neighborhoods. That's getting neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are our customers? And one of the things we looked at, we said, okay, on those that are where the mailing's going to, or where our current customers are, Cameron was able to give me a map and says, okay, here's the area. And I looked at it and I said, man, I'm not even getting this new neighborhood with all these new people that are moving into town. I says, we need to do some marketing to that area. And so we switched and marketed to that area. And another area, it's like, okay, the downtown area, they're lower income. They're not spending that much. But this neighborhood out through here that I'm not marketing to, they're a more affluent neighborhood. I want marketing to this area. And so I started pinpointing these neighborhoods and said, okay, I want this neighborhood and this one and this one and this one. And we started sending postcards to that. Because it's really hard to, send it to all, every possibility in your area, just cost wise. So you can start in and you just start working through each specific area and market to those that are your customer.
Yeah, I
that's a
love
big
that. You know, and this goes right into John's question. John has a question about how do you determine what's the best approach for those you target and for your marketing? Do you feel that it should be based on your ideal customer, a preferred area they live, a targeting brand or model owner, a gas versus diesel? John, that's a phenomenal question. And
Yeah.
you know, Tom, you talk about going to the neighborhoods. Have you ever gone to Cameron and said, hey, well, no, you did mention it. You went and said, hey, I want more diesel customers. So you guys targeted the diesel with cars and trucks, but mostly trucks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a good question. So really it's a conversation. If you get started doing direct mail, whether it's with UpSwell or whoever you choose to use, it needs to be a conversation between you and that consultant, right? Because we only know what you guys tell us. So if you're a diesel shop, I'll probably know it because it's in your name, but I'll still probably ask the question, well, do you want to target diesels, right? But if you're an auto shop that just hired a diesel tech, okay, maybe you want to go after some diesel. So if you let me know, then I know that what we can go after. And then we'll do a full evaluation of your shop and really see, you know, how many cars you need to fill up that tech's time, right? So we do a full evaluation of all of that stuff, and really a lot of it is, you know, on the part where you said a preferred area they live. Most of your customers are going to come from right around your shop, and you'll see that if we pull what we call a penetration report. And I've got one here. I don't know, Jimmy, are we able to share screen or?
Yeah. At the bottom, click on the present plus. You can share screen.
Let's see here. We'll do this one here. Can you guys see that?
Not yet. It's coming up. It's thinking. There it goes.
Perfect. So this is Tom's penetration report. And so this is something that we use to identify where your best customers are, where your best carrier routes are, right? So we're able to see, like, for example, Tom crushes it. He's got, if we take this first line, for example, here's the zip code carrier route. You know, the residential counts here. This is single and multifamily, but this is his customer count, right? So he's got 81 customers coming from this single carrier route. So
Wow.
he's dominating. Penetration percentage, all this is market share, right? He's got 11.82% market share of this carrier route. We can also see what the average customer spends. So when you're talking about who do we know to target, well, it's going to be the routes where you're already having the most success and who is spending money with you, right? Like Tom said, there's some areas, let's find one, like for here, for example. Penetration is not bad here. I mean, he's still getting 5% penetration. But if I had to choose between that route and, let's say, this route, I'm choosing this one all day, right? They're spending $2,600 and he's already got 53 people coming from there. So we know that route is going to bring new customers once you introduce postcards into it. And then you can see different things like median household income, median home value, net worth. You can see a lot of different stuff here, right? So when you're talking about how do we know who to target on a saturation level, this is it. And then on like on a list mailing level, so that's going to be your diesels and euros. That is really what we're doing is a couple of things. We can pull a radius and find diesels and euros that way, which is probably the most common way, or we can still take your data, run a very similar report to this, but on a zip code level, and figure out what your top penetrated zip codes are, and then target those zip codes. So there's a couple of different ways that we can do this.
I love it. And Tom, question for you. When you are setting up a postcard campaign, or you're developing this idea, you're going after a neighborhood, you're going after a vehicle, make and model, or diesel or gas, how quickly do you see a response from postcards when you send them out?
You know, sometimes within a week, I start seeing them coming in. I mean, I've had some the same day they get the postcard, they pick it up and they make a call and set an appointment. So, you know, it's normally fairly soon is when we start to see it. But as far as how long does it last,
Yeah.
We've had people bring them in 6 months later and says, I've had this thing sitting here. Will you still honor it? And it's like, well, yeah, I'll still honor it, but that's just telling me, you know what? They saw some value and they stuck it on their refrigerator or on their counter, and they kept it there until they needed it. And so,
yeah,
sometimes it's hard to tell what the impact of that mailer is, because they may have sat on it for a long time. We have done like
true.
2 other mailings since the time that, some of these have come in and they bring it out. Can I still honor this one? It's like, sure, So.
Yeah, and that's great because it gives you an opportunity. You can either honor it or not. It's your choice. Do you put expiration dates on all of your postcards, Tom?
Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah. A lot of times we do like limited time only. And that kind of language leaves it up to the owner to say, no, we're not going to honor it, or we are going to honor it. But the thing with the expiration dates, now you got me on that, Jimmy. We like to think of expiration dates as that's only hurting you and it's only hurting the customer, because once the expiration date hits, the customer can't use that coupon anymore. And that's one less person that's going to come into your shop.
Yeah.
Right. So you want as many at bats as you can if you need car count. And so that's what we're trying to do.
I love it. Tom, have you ever had a situation where you reactivated a client that was lost because of postcards?
We've had a few. I haven't tracked that very much, but we have had a few that, it's been a while since they've been in and they come in. So,
yeah. Cameron, what do you see in the industry as a lost customer campaign? Well, at what point do you consider a client lost?
That's a great question. And it depends on the shop. A lot of times we take a look at what you're currently doing to retain your customers, right? So like text messaging, emailing, reminders, all that sort of stuff. And then we say, okay, when does that cut off? For a lot of shops, that's 6 months, right? Some shops, it's 12 months. So what we do is we say, okay, at the end of whatever campaign that you have going on now, we'll start there. So if they haven't been, if they're 6 months from visiting your shop and then you stop putting touch points on them, okay, well, we can put touch points on them with a postcard, right? And send that out to them, like I said, roughly quarterly. Some shops do it monthly. To their lost customer campaigns, right? Because you're just trying to get as many as you can back.
Right.
So that's a general answer. But for a lost customer for us in our system is technically 12 months.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what we count as what I referred to earlier as a win back. But a lost customer could be up to the shop owner on what they define as a lost customer.
Oh, and that's so true, Cameron. I was talking to Kathleen Callahan down in Florida, and she's got a lot of snowbirds that are back and forth. So for her, it's 18 months to 24 months that it actually triggers a lost customer campaign for her versus every other shop. It's probably somewhere in that 6 month, 9 month, 12 month on the outside, right in that realm that you need to make sure that customer's coming back into your shop. Because if they're not, hopefully they're going somewhere else and taking care of the vehicle.
Yeah.
But hopefully they're into your shop and making sure that you got one set of eyes and one set of professionals taking care of your vehicle.
Absolutely. No, for sure.
Tom, to you, and I know that you most recently had the mastermind group come together to your shop to give you a lot of feedback on your shop, from the street sign to the parking lot, the lobby, the front counter, the shop, the receiving parts area, the parking lot, marketing, bookkeeping, all the things. What value do you see in your mastermind group?
As being in a group, I don't know if it's as much having them come to my shop as much as it is me going to other shops. And, as I went to other shops and I said, man, I've got to improve this and this and this. And when I'd come home, I had pages of stuff I needed to improve in my own shop. And so I would come home and I would make all these improvements. So the nice thing is when they visited my shop, I had already hit a lot of these areas. and they really focused on some areas of kind of a little deeper aspects, on how to make a little bit more productive, and some processes to refine and some things like that. There were a few little issues that came up as far as signage and things like that. They were things that I was already working on. Sure, I actually had signs coming. They were already ordered when they came, but they weren't up yet. So, but it was based off of feedback from other shop owners, from other shops and things like that. So, just to see what other guys are doing and seeing what expectations, see what's working out there. I mean, it is worth a lot. And then to have them come into my shop and say, ask us, is it always this clean? Well, yeah. And asking the guys, is it always this way? It's like, yeah, it generally is, or no, it's not, but just kind of backs us up a little bit as, yeah, you're doing good things, you're on the right path. So.
Oh, I think that's awesome. My father says that everyone's an example. Some people are a good example of what not to do, and some are a good example of what to do. And it sounds like you have learned from other people's scenarios, from their situations, brought it back to your own shop, implemented it so that you were even further down the road. When they came to look at your shop, it was more of a surprise. Oh my gosh, this is so good, because you did the work, because you put in the time, because you visited other shops and said, oh my gosh, I need to fix this at my place as well. Tom, that's phenomenal. Speaking of that, did you run your marketing ideas through your mastermind group?
I've kind of talked about a few of them, but not as much as I should have, I guess. Once I started this group, I only started the group a little over a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And I tell you, I struggled. I always had constant growth. From 2012 to where I am today, I kind of had consistent growth. I'd grow a little bit each year. Right. I was always growing. I was always behind schedule. Had plenty of work. But my biggest focus was getting the work done. How do I get this work done? And I tried a couple of different groups out there that, coaching groups, and they would come in and they would say, okay, your big focus, you need to be doing marketing. And I'd look at them, I'd say, why do I need to be spending more on marketing when I can't get the work done that's here? And they says, well, just trust me, do this and this, and let's start focusing on your marketing. And I just, I didn't agree with what they wanted to do in the direction. And so I'd kind of given up a little bit on the coaching groups. I thought, they're just after my money and wanting to do marketing. And then I went to SEMA, and Cecil was doing a workshop there on, I don't remember the title of it, but basically it covered communication in your shop. And,
it's the front to back conversations.
Yeah. And I sat down in that meeting and I go, whoa, he just hit exactly what I need to do. I need to improve my communication in my shop. I need to make this will make things happen. And I came home and I started putting stuff to work, and I started into doing some coaching. And all of a sudden I went from, so that was in November.
Yes.
And that year I finished strong. So that year I finished at 1.2 million.
Congratulations.
I finished the next year almost 1.7 million after joining the coaching group. So what did that do? But as a result, our ARO went up and everything else. I hired more technicians, but my challenge was now I have to market. And how do I market? And so I went to Mars last year, and I brought one of my employees. She was also my sister, and she was really wanting to do the marketing. And I sat down, went down there with her, and we kind of went through some stuff and came back and did a few things, but it wasn't really clicking. So I've thrown some things out there with as I've met with these other shops and see what's working, and then really I'm excited here in a few weeks. I'll be taking my manager down there and going through this marketing again and setting together we have a marketing plan, but we want to refine it. We really want to make it to where our weakness is not getting the cars in. I want to be able to just churn, and so we want to increase that volume of the shop. In order to do so, now we have to focus on marketing, but we've been able to fix a lot of the other aspects that needed to be fixed. So.
Oh, I love it, Tom. That's amazing. Do you know Tracy Holt Performance Place down here in Northern Utah?
Yep.
Very similar story. Very similar story, the two of you. You needed shop efficiencies. You didn't need car counts. You didn't need average repair order. You needed shop efficiencies. And once you got that down, what happens naturally? Car count went up, average repair order went up. And now you're at the point where, oh my gosh, okay, we're efficient. Average repair order is perfect. It's where it needs to be. All right, now we're at the point. Let's bring in more cars. Let's increase. I love it. That's awesome. Congratulations.
I also have to say about our postcards. So when we started our postcards, no one else here was really doing any postcards. And I really don't have a lot of shops here to pattern after either. But I started sending some out, and I have to, just as far as kudos to Cameron here, I got one of their postcards from one of the other shops, and I looked at it, and I had to look at it, I kid you not, for a good minute to figure out what they were trying to sell, because they had so much on that postcard, and there was just so much. I'm like, well, are they a wrecking yard? Are they towing service? Are they a repair shop? What are they? What are they marketing here? And they just threw so much in there, and I thought, that's odd. Well, my son got the same postcard, and he looked at it, and he's like, did you see this, Dad? And I says, well, yeah. He goes, I couldn't figure out what they're marketing, And so that has been a big example to me, as Cameron, as we shoot out these different things, and he makes recommendations, and they try to keep it pretty simple and where our focus is. So, sometimes we get stuff out there. Yeah, I looked at that postcard for a long time, but I really wasn't sure what they were marketing. So, sometimes it's getting our name out there, and it, in the right way.
Right. It's that KISS method. Keep it simple, Simon. You've got to keep it simple, have a very focused message, and know exactly what you're promoting. That's what you want in your shop. So you that's what you ask for. Oh, I love it. I think that's great. What else? Let's see. You've gone it through. Oh, John's got a question here. Let's give John some love here. When it comes to marketing, who should make the actual postcard that is sent out? If I make a postcard, can I just send it out to my customers anyways? What are the benefits of using someone like UpSwell for my marketing? I think that's a great question, Cameron, because John, I could go to Kinko's or Copy Place and print all the postcards I want, and you can put a stamp on every single one of them, or Cameron,
or you could use someone like UpSwell, right? So obviously your time's valuable, and your time is money. And so not only that, right, it's actually a lot of times cheaper to use a company like us because we get print discounts, postage discounts. You're not designing it. We have an in-house design team that is actually designing that for us. It makes it a lot easier on you, number one. Number two, when you're targeting or when you're sending these postcards out yourself, you have no back-end analytics or tracking, right? So you can't see, like I was talking about earlier with the address matchbacks. It's hard for you to see all of that data on the back end on what your actual return on your investment is. And then number three, targeting is such a big deal with postcards. much harder for you to do when you go to USPS and you do EDDM, all these things. It's you can see the map and you kind of know your area, but there's some areas maybe you don't know where you're getting customers from. And so that's what we are able to pull that penetration report that I was showing earlier and really find out, okay, you've got 8 people coming from here, but they're only spending $500 on average in the last 12 months. But you've got, 20 customers coming from here and they're spending $2,000 with you on average in the last 12 months. So we can very fine tune target your ideal customers, which is much harder for you guys to do on your own. And so that's really 3 reasons I would say you would want to use someone like UpSwell. And like I said, as long as you're doing postcards with somebody and you're doing it the right way, you've got to have 3 things, right? The right people at the right time with the right messaging, right? All those 3 things have to combine. And we've been doing it. I'll keep saying it. We've been doing it a long time, and we started in the auto repair industry. That Greg Sands, our founder, owned auto shops. So all of this stuff is from his brain and knowing how to do it. So we just have it down to a science, right? We have different plans and programs that we do, and no contracts. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons I guess I should say on why you should use someone like UpSwell. It makes your life a lot easier, and you're gonna get better return if you use. So like if you think of it as a cost savings thing, like, oh, I'll save myself some dollars to design it myself and do it this way myself. It's really gonna cost you money on the back end because of our ability to target and track this stuff for you.
Yeah, it's stepping over dollars to pick up dimes. I wouldn't advise it. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what I do. I mean, Cameron will send me out a print
Postcard proof.
Postcard proof. And I look at it and go, that is not at all what I want. And I say, I want this and this and this. I want something like this and this and this. And they send it back to me. I go, oh, that's better, but this here is not what I want. Send it back, and they change. And, sometimes it's throwing things out and seeing what works. We recently, the last 2 mailings, which I haven't even reported back to Cameron as to how well this worked, but we have a virtual golf place here in town that started up, and I thought, you know what, maybe that's our target market. Let's focus on some golfers, and see if we can kind of pick up some of that. And so up in the top corner, it was, if you pick up the thing, first thing that pops into your eye is the virtual golf, and it said, get around to golf on us. And we launched this out actually was it December, January? It was a winter month, so we were closed, and we sent it out. And interesting enough, we did not get. We only had one customer come in and request the code to go get a free round of golf. But my friend who owns the golf place, who is actually a financial advisor, so he works with my type of clients, reported back and said, man, our memberships jumped through the roof this month. I said,
and it was all you.
So here it is. We sent out. We didn't get people in the door specific to that golf. They didn't want the golf code. We got a lot of people coming back with the postcard itself, but so we didn't actually pay for anyone's round because only one person requested it, and we gave it to them, and so we thought, well, we didn't get anything. So the next round, they sent that postcard to me as a proof, and I go, oh, I haven't taken that off yet. I said, you know what, I'm just going to run it another round. And so I think that was like in April or something like that. We ran it again. And same results for us on our side. We did not get anybody coming in to ask for that code to do their own round of virtual golf. But on their side, it picked up. And so how did that affect us? One thing is they were holding on to that card, thinking about the golf side. They weren't looking for the special, but they were bringing in the card for other services.
Wow.
But So sometimes just throwing stuff out is like, was that unsuccessful? Was it successful? Hey, you know what? On the golf side, their memberships went up. They loved it. And so they were happy because I just marketed for them. You know what? They deal with my clients. They're my type of client every day. So
Yeah.
Is that a loss for me?
I'm seeing a co-marketing opportunity here. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked great for that.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Tom, what advice would you give to a shop owner that's a little bit hesitant on starting a postcard campaign? What advice would you give them?
Cameron told me run at least at 2 consecutive mailers, and before you really make a decision. The mail campaign is not the only thing we do in marketing right now, because it is more expensive than doing Google or Facebook marketing, things like that. But adding that into our process keeps us in the forefront of people's minds. It brings stuff in. It's just another aspect. So, if you're a struggling shop and just struggling on trying to get the most dollar for value of getting out there, you might want to start in like your Google and your Facebook, because it's the cheaper area.
Yeah, do the digital stuff first.
Yeah, when you want to get into really targeting your ideal person and to grow that ARO and to market specific areas, the direct mail is a great way to do it. And you mix that in once you have your other campaigns going. So you send your direct mail, and then they go to the computer and they look it up, and whoa, your ads pop up on Facebook or Google, or your website pops up. Now all of a sudden your marketing is more complete, more who actually was responsible for getting that customer in? Was it the ad that they saw after that? Was it the original piece of mail? Who cares? It's just another part of your marketing.
And the answer is yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. It was all a part of the marketing program. So yes, it was the Google ads. Yes, it was the Facebook ads. Yes, it was the postcards. Yes, it was all of the marketing plan. It worked because you had a marketing plan, you put it in place, and you launched it. You track it, you find out what's working and what's not, then you really elevate that. I've talked to people. I know we're talking about postcards, but I'm going to put a billboard comment here. I had a friend, two different shops that had billboards. They didn't know if they were actually making money off those billboards or not. Put tracking onto it, Shazam. Now they know exactly what they're getting from the billboards, and neither one of them have taken them down. They are absolutely there, and they're going to stay there because it works. And they're right off the freeway, so it totally makes sense. Yeah. So, Tom, if you were to go back in time, what advice would you give to yourself in starting your postcard program? What lessons have you learned that you wished you knew a year and a half, 2 years ago?
I think probably get a marketing process down and stick with it. One of the things we did is we threw out some marketing. We go, oh, now we're busy. And so we quit marketing. And then when it got slow, I called Cameron, hey, I got to send something. And well, then it takes a little bit to get that going again. And so it's like being consistent with the marketing, trying to keep things in the forefront. Don't wait until it's a slow day and then say, man, I wish I had more cars in the door. But you put together a campaign, and some of it's just to keep out there in the forefront of people's minds. And something we're playing with a little bit for next year. 2 more areas we're going to focus and use direct mail in. One is we're going to put together something that's associated directly with the community. So with like a calendar of events on there, something that they're going to take and put on the refrigerator to remember those schedules. And that can go out direct mail. And the other thing is we just started doing tires. And so we're going to use direct mail to get our name out there as far as doing tires. So there's different times, but don't wait until there's nobody coming in the door to really do it. Just kind of put together, plan on, Cameron knows that right now I'm planning on the end of this year, there's going to be a couple of pieces going out. And so that's
nice. That's very cool. That's very cool. Tom, I'm looking forward to seeing you here at the Mars conference, because we'll take this up to the next level here, helping you to refine your marketing program, your marketing plan. Thank you for coming down here, because it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're gonna land this plane here now, and Cameron, go to you first, and then Tom to you, and then we'll land the plane. Cameron, what is a concept that you wished automotive shop owners understood about marketing? Like, if you had a magic wand, you could wave it and everybody would understand about marketing.
Tom couldn't have said it better. Consistency. That's why, like Tom said earlier, give me 2 months at least. I mean, that's bare bones minimum. Just give me that. But I mean, I've got shops that have been mailing with me for 4 years straight. And they stay consistent. And as it's just like your Google ads, right? You wouldn't just turn your Google ads off, then turn it on, then off, then on. It's just like your website. You wouldn't do that either, right? Postcards are the same way. All your marketing's the same way. And I guess the other part of that would be to have these two different types of marketing: push, pull, right? So push is going to be like your direct mail. You're proactively reaching out to customers, trying to entice them to come into your shop. Pull is going to be your Google ads, right? You're getting customers that are in need of service right now. Like, hey, I need brakes right now. I'm going to type in auto repair near me or brakes near me. Have those two types of marketing in place, because that's how you're going to get the best results, and stay consistent with both. Don't shut them off. Either what I always suggest my customers to do, because I have customers call me all the time in the summer months. Hey, I am slammed. I'm too busy. I can't take on another car. Okay, awesome. Look, let's not shut this off. Let's cut it in half. Or let's cut it down to a quarter. But it's like a cruise ship, right? It's hard to get that thing going, and you get it going, it's going great. And once you stop it, it's hard to get it back going again. And so then, especially when you come into September, October, November, months that are slower for a lot of shops, now we've got to get that cruise ship back started up again. And that goes for all of your marketing. So stay consistent with it. It will pay off, and it will pay more than what you paid for it. It's an investment. It's not a cost.
Oh, it's so true. So true. Thank you, Cameron. Consistency is so important, especially in marketing. And when it's going well, you don't let your foot off the pedal. You don't let it off the gas. You should double down. That's my advice.
The fish are biting.
Yes, yep. Absolutely. Get them in the shop.
There's never a bad time to market. Fish when the fish are biting. When they're not biting, guess what? Everyone pulls their lines out of the water. Put yours in. Keep yours in.
Yeah. I'll answer Evan's question real quick, and then Tom will come to you. Evan, the question that you're asking about the billboards, these two shops put a call tracking phone number on the billboards. And from that, they knew how many people were calling, how many of them made appointments, how many of them came in to the shop and had services performed on their vehicles. And it was a staggering number. It was shocking. Both Dan and Bill were shocked. They were both surprised that it was such a high number. So that's the way you can track your billboards, Evan, is with a call tracking phone number. And you would think, oh my gosh, a call tracking number, how are they going to see that and call me from the freeway? Here they are going 80 miles an hour down the freeway. I don't know. They took a picture of it. They memorized it. I don't know, but they called. I know that's what they did, and it worked, and it was shocking results. So, Evan, try it out. I'd love to hear the results you get from your billboard tracking efforts. that would be pretty awesome. And thank you, Elena, for putting information out there about the Mars conference. If you want to see Tom and shake his hand and be part of the Mars conference, we would love for you to come check us out at wearetheinstitute.com. Go in there under the events, the Mars event, marketing for automotive repair shops. You can meet Tom, you can meet myself. We'd love to have you there because it's going to be a great marketing conference, one that just really is going to elevate your marketing business. Now, Tom, the question I have for you as we close this out is, what does the future look like for Tom and All Right Automotive and Diesel?
You know, we went through some major struggles these last few months. We were getting a lot of our processes done. We grew so much. We really started to focus on culture, and we did a big shakeup. And, it cost us a lot, but you know what? When people show up to work now, they love coming to work, and they love being able to contribute and have their voice heard in the things that we do. Communication's better than ever, and we're actually starting on the uptick now. I mean, it's been a rough few months as we've gone through some change, but you know what? We have things in place and moving forward. So, but
oh, that's awesome.
Good.
Congratulations. The future is bright. You know, when you're lean and mean, you're a fighting machine. It sounds like you got rid of those bad apples and now you're ready to rock and roll.
That's right.
Nice. Congratulations. That's awesome. Well, join us at the Mars conference. All of you who are here, we would love to have you there. Tom, thank you for joining. Cameron, thank you for joining. It's been a great conversation. Anytime I get to talk about marketing, I absolutely love it. And I look forward to these opportunities. So to both of you, thank you.
Thanks for the time, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you joining us here, there's a 30-second commercial here at the very end. Pull out your cell phones, get ready, the QR code, scan that QR code, and you can get an appointment with my team so we can talk to you about your business. We'll give you a little analysis of your shop and say, hey, you know what? Here's one or two things that you could really do that will help move the needle for your shop, help you improve your process procedures, help move your needle so that you can retain some more profit. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Check us out also for the Leadership Intensive. We are coming to North Carolina in October, going to Blowing Rock, North Carolina. For those of you who don't know, that's Lucas Underwood's shop. He is hosting a Leadership Intensive at his shop, and we're going to be conducting that. It's a 3-day super awesome intensive leadership training. You definitely want to be there for that. And those of you who have advisors that need some training, you are on the East Coast. In December, we are coming to Atlanta, Georgia. Cameron, that's right down the street from you. We're coming to Atlanta, Georgia for a service advisor, 3-day service advisor intensive. We just finished the last one here in Ogden, Utah. We're ready now to do it again. We're going to take it East Coast. So if you have a shop, you're East Coast, and you have an advisor that you want to take up from zero to hero, we can definitely help you do that in December. Look forward to seeing you there. My name is Jimmy Lee. Thank you for the time. I look forward to seeing you again soon at a conference or maybe even at your shop. Love to stop by and say hello. Talk to you soon.